Welcome back to SGK Talks. Today I'm going to be talking about the backfire effect. Now, the backfire effect, this is a tendency when we're given information or evidence against our belief, we denigrate the information. We don't believe it. We say it's garbage, and we double down on our belief. And this happens all the time with politics, sports, all this kind of stuff. When we're given evidence that is sort of contrary to what we believe, we don't take that evidence in and of itself. We sort of mucky it with other things. Let's say I'm trying to disprove a misconception. I will actually make that misconception even stronger by disproving it. Some people are like, okay, well, I'm going to double down on this belief because I put my personality, I sort of put my ideology and stuff into this belief, whatever it could be. It could be with politics. It could be with certain type of technology, Apple versus Android. It could be NFL versus hockey or whatever you want it to be. Let's say you are attacking somebody's point of view, or they feel as if they're getting attacked. When you try to change a person's mind, they often feel attacked by this. Studies have shown that this actually causes physical pain in the mind. It's equivalent to physical pain on the body. Also, our emotions are a lot faster than logic. Our emotions are way quicker. They're what hit us first, and then the logic comes around. We like to think we're logical people. We're not. We're very emotional. Emotions are always first, especially in relationships and stuff like that. Your emotions are always, the fire starting it up, and the logic is just limping behind. So how do you get through this backfire effect? There was a great quote I heard, and it was, "Genius is a young man's game." And when I first heard this quote, I didn't know what it meant. Genius is a young man's game. What does this mean? But think about it this way. Let's say you're a kid. You don't have a lot of information you actually hold. You're mostly just absorbing the world. You're mostly just looking around like, okay, what's going on? And you're learning. But as you start getting older, there's more stuff you can fall back on. Like, does this add up with what I believed previously? And you keep going and going and going. And then when you get older, you get to the point you've had 5, 6, 10, 12 years, even longer, in this set of ideology or information. But when other information comes along that sort of rebukes it and says that isn't true, it's not so easy to get rid of. It's like, I can't get rid of that. It's sort of a sunk cost going into play as well. And it's very hard to just leave out. It's like, okay, I can't get rid of it. I've been somebody who loves Apple my whole life. That's all I've ever done. And Apple is the way to go. Apple is the best. And you start realizing there's these other brands and stuff like that are a lot better than Apple. And the reviews and everything like that, Apple's going down, but I'm an Apple person. That's one way of looking at it. There's a few other ways you can so let's say I'm trying to, and we kind of have to change this as well. You sort of have to self-scout thyself. You have to do a reversal. So everyone thinks the backfire effect affects other people, but it also affects you as well. When somebody gives you evidence that you may not agree with, you often say, oh, that's garbage, that's rubbish, that's just not true whatsoever. But rarely you sort of have to, if you want to be logical with it, you have to step back and be like, okay, this person said this thing, and they said, here's some facts and stuff like that. I don't quite believe it. I don't think it's true, but it could be, so maybe I should self-scout myself and see what's going on. And that's very hard to do. It's very hard to say, all right, let me just step back and think about it. Because we often want to say that we've been right. This is what I believe. But if you look back through human history, most people were wrong. Some of the pinnacle of science, like, oh, bloodletting, that is the way to go. We're going to sit on our hill and say bloodletting is definitely the smartest way to go about it. And somebody else comes along later on like, you know what? I don't think this actually helps at all. I think this is actually pretty damning. It's not a really good thing. You're going to sit back like, well, everybody else is doing it. It's going to go into a lot of different scenarios. But yeah, that's basically the rundown of the backfire effect. It's a pretty interesting one. It's a hard one to sort of get past. I mean, you should never go online and try to argue with somebody online. If you ever see people arguing, just don't take their opinion too strongly if they believe they can change someone else's opinion online. There's also a great quote. Think about how hard it is to change yourself. Think about how hard it is to change a habit or something like that you have. Now think about how astronomically hard it would be to change somebody else. You know, it's extremely hard. But yeah, that is the Backfire Effect. Thank you very much.